David, you require 53.
Options. A lot of action on tops in this game, and Cameron's been pretty handy on the finishing. Pretty handy indeed. Cameron conquers Michael in the opening encounter of Monday at the Modus Super Series. The Deadly Roose unable to find that killer instinct, and it's David Cameron who's smelling victory at the end of that one. A 4-1 success, an average north of 90 for the Canadian, but the finishing was the big difference there. In the first 3 legs, Michael missed a dart at tops and Cameron punished. 4 out of 7 for him in that department, and that augurs well for the rest of the day. Second match then follows this break. Jim McEwen up against Michael. Might actually
76.
prefer 1 dart at tops and 2 darts at double 8. But that's what he gets. And he only needs 1 dart at that target anyway. No problem for Jim McEwen. No need to be alarmed.
Well, they'll get the opportunity to leave his favourite, see if he can reacquaint himself with that double.
62.
And Huntley
Jimmy
rounds it off
60.
perfectly.
20 then. Well, he's going to have to do that in 2 bits now. And it's only 1 dart at tops, a target he hasn't found in this entire match until the end. And that is the end. And McEwen wins 4-1 over Mike Huntley. Chucky just fighting the fatigue. Not happy with his performance level, but he will be very happy to pick up the points there. Neither player really at it from the off, but McEwen just sharper on the finishing in the end. 50% for him, and he wins it 4-1, just as David Cameron did in the opening match against John Michael. That leaves the Dutch duo to battle it out next as Ivo Lexma faces Bradley Roose.
Ivo, you require 8. Game shot on the first leg. Ivo Lexma.
Well, that's a solid enough start to life at the Super Series. 17 darter in the end for Ivo.
Second, Ivo, you require 40.
Big last start there, keeps him interested.
Game shot.
But the game is done, the game is over, and Ivo Lexma on debut has picked up a victory here at the Super Series. We said he could be one that goes under the radar a little bit and a bit understated. A semi-finalist at the Dutch Open, but now he is a winner on the Super Series stage. He's up and running, 2 points on the board thanks to the 82.61 average for him. But coming up next, we've got a former champion here at the Super Series, Jim McEwen, taking on the 16-time Greek champion, John Michael. Well, he's left a double.
135.
The least spotted double on the board. This time gets the bullseye when he wants it. It's tops.
Game shot on the 4th leg.
Yeah, what a
John
finish
Michael.
that is. Magical Michael. Squandered at that target. It just hasn't been there for him today.
How many darts will John Michael get? It's going to be 2.
Game shot under match.
And he only needs
John
1.
Michael.
John Michael gets his first win of the week at the Super Series, seeing off the Series 5 champion Jim McEwen, who put in a decent performance, but it wasn't good enough to deal with Michael, who really turned the tie with that 135 finish. Averages higher than 91 in the end there. 4 out of 9 on the doubles. A very, very polished performance from the Greek, and he picks up his first points of the group. Coming next, Bradley Roose, looking for his first win. He's up against David Cameron.
Did you require 80?
I think we know where he was going with that one. We know where David Cameron's going. He's going to double 10.
David Cameron
gets him back in the game to get 6 darts from here. It's not a guarantee.
Well, double 10 will win it in 3,
unmatched.
and that's what he
Bradley
does. A
Roose.
4-1 win, wins it by 3, Bradley Roose, and he enjoyed that one. The Dutchman off the mark in Group A. David Cameron, well, he won his first match 4-1, but in his second game, he's gone down by the same scoreline. Roose gets the result. First victory for him this week at the Super Series. He lost to the Dutchman Ivo Lexma in his first match, and he's back in action next. Michael Huntley, the opponent, after the break.
But this will be the one he'll be expecting the opportunity to get the game done in.
108.
And a beautiful start. Whenever you got to throw your kickoff with a 180, you feel it's virtually job done.
And he's evidently got some talent.
85.
this Dutch darter. And now he's producing brilliance
99.
right at the perfect time.
Well, there's nothing Huntley can do now. It's all about Evo. Even a 180 for Huntley
60.
still puts him behind the pump. It's literally pray for mistakes if you're in the Michael Huntley camp, and there are no mistakes coming. This is a brilliant potential final leg from Evo. Just 9 darts thrown. Leaves himself 2 darts away from the match. Fantastic darts.
Yeah, potentially 11 darts to the bullseye.
Evo, you require
And double 16
82.
will get him that. Well, he does end up on double 16 for a 12 darter to close out a classy performance and a second victory. He's the only player to get 2 wins from his first 2, and therefore on debut will be top of the table after the first 2 rounds of fixtures here at the Super Series, and that is a super showing from Ivo Lexma. 95.39 the average, 4 out of 10 on the finishing, including that match-winning 82, and Huntley goes down for the second time as Lexma wins for the second time. Coming up after the break, John Michael takes on Bradley Roose. Do something
John, you require
unorthodox
60.
to try and get the job done. That'll be out of the way for Michael. And
Game
that
shot
is the
and
way
match. John
to win a
Michael.
match. 4-0. He dishes out the hammering of Bradley Roose, who actually had the same amount of darts at double as John Michael in that match. He was none from 5. John Michael was 4 from 5, 80%. He takes Bradley to finishing school and doubles his tally in this group, meaning he now goes top of the table temporarily, but Ivo Lexma is looking to continue an unbeaten start to life at the Super Series when he takes on Jim McEwen next. To Jim McEwen, who started his day today with a 76 checkout in 2 darts on double 8.
Game shot on the first
Does
leg.
exactly the same
Jim
thing
McEwen.
in his 3rd match.
Evo, you require 18. No
How
score.
many chances does he want? That's 8
Jimmy
darts
require
at a double
2.
now without response.
How high does he pitch this first dart?
Game shot.
High in the
match.
bed.
Jim McEwen.
And McEwen gets the win, a 4-0 win as well, against the previously undefeated Ivo Lexma, who just found it tough going against Chucky. Could not find a way into the match, despite missing 8 darts at double. McEwen missed 12 across the game, but he manages to kind of scrap out a 4-0 win. Seems a strange thing to say, but that's the way the game went, and that's the way the day's going for Jim McEwen. But he has got 2 victories out of 3. The same for the man he's just beaten, and the same for John Michael. Coming next, looking to join them with that record, David Cameron, who faces the winless Mike Huntley. 4 more players from across the Atlantic in this series. One that we've seen before, one that we haven't.
Game shot on the 3rd leg. David Cameron.
And that is an excellent outshot from Cameron, who crashes in the 114, leaving... He actually just went for 2 single 20s. Fancied just 1 dart at tops. Now he's got 3.
Game shot.
And he only
the match.
needs 1.
David Cameron.
And Cameron completes the demolition job of the beleaguered Michael Huntley, who's yet to pick up any points. Cameron now has 4, joint with Jim McEwen, John Michael and Ivo Lexma in winning 2 out of 3 games. McEwen can pull clear at the top of the table if he wins the next one, but if Bradley Roose beats him, then 5 players will have 4, and poor old Mike Huntley will stay bottom of the table on 0 points.
To go.
Bradley requires 68.
Yeah, we'll want to get a leg as quickly as possible, having lost 4 straight in his previous match against John Michael.
36.
But it didn't go. McEwen
Jimmy
gets the
require
chance.
88.
And he gets 2 darts at double 14.
Game shot
Only
on the first
needs
leg.
1.
Jim McEwen.
Bradley Roose now.
32.
Well, he got double 16 when he didn't want it in the
Jim, you
previous
require
leg. He doesn't
56.
get it when he does want it in this leg. And Jim McEwen will get 2 darts at his favoured double. Okay, one of his favoured doubles to get the job done here. Oh, it was a balmy bout.
Game shot.
Brilliance
Jim McEwen.
and madness in equal measure in that match. But it's a match that McEwen wins, and a win that takes him to the top of the table. He's now got 3 victories from his 4 games, despite playing through the pain barrier apparently. But he's managed to brush away Bradley Roose. A 4-2 success for McEwen. The scoring in that game was remarkable. 6-180 shared. There was a 1-7-1 in there as well from Jim McEwen, plus another 5 2-treble visits from him, and he gets the job done. 4-2 in a game that had lots of bizarre moments, including that bust 136 from Roose. He will return to take on Mike Huntley in his last match. McEwen will be in action against David Cameron, but Huntley faces John Michael after this short break.
To get to 3 for the first time today.
Game shot on a 6
Well,
leg.
he
Mike
does
Huntley.
get to 3 for the first time today, but can he get to the all-important 4? It's woe for the Welshman, who
John, you
cannot
require
believe
20.
it. That's as close as he's come. And John Michael may make him pay.
Game shot and the match. John
Double
Michael.
5 found. And the Deadly Rose defeats Michael Huntley, who still is without points in Group A. He missed his opportunity. 3 clear at tops, couldn't take the chance. And John Michael picks up what could prove to be a very, very valuable victory. He's won 3 from 4 and will go into his last game against Ivo Lexma with the chance to be top of the table. David Cameron is looking to join that 6-point party next when he takes on Lexma, who faces the same equation.
Be very encouraging that for David Cameron. He'll be happy with what he's seen so far.
60. David, you require 117.
A big flyer there up by top. These have been sprayed around the board by Evo.
Game shot on a first leg.
Cameron
David Cameron.
has had some nice finishes like that. A 114 in his previous win.
Game shot and the match.
And Cameron
David Cameron.
thrashes Ivo Lexma, who does suffer a second straight whitewash. Cameron capitalising on an out-of-sorts display. A really stellar showing from the Canadian, particularly in the first couple of legs. 117 checkout, got the game going, and he went on to win 4 straight legs to win his penultimate match. We have the final game for each player coming up after the break, starting with the bottom 2, Mike Huntley against Bradley Roose. Shall I?
39.
Dare
Bradley
I?
require 50.
That might make his mind up, the fact that Huntley's not on a finish. Is it the bullseye to win it? Boring.
Game shot and the match.
But sometimes
Bradley
boring
Roose.
is effective. Now Bradley Roose gets it done. Well, that celebration was worthy of that 50 finish had it been 1 dart. Did it in 2 in the end, but he did pick up his second win of the day, and a thumping one at that. A very good performance overall, but the missed doubles, well, they didn't stop him winning 4-1. 3 180s in that one. Hit 6 perfect darts early in the game as well with a 177. And Bradley Roose doubles his points tally for the day. Actually jumps ahead of his Dutch compatriot Ivo Lexma on leg difference. Lexma in action in the final game against John Michael. But before that, the top 2 go head-to-head. David Cameron against Jim McEwen.
Well, 12, surely. You spent a lot of time over here on the 6s.
$10. David, you require 80.
Oh, most people would just bust that situation. Jim McEwen obviously happy with the double 1, but he might not get a go.
Game shot on a full
Good,
flag.
clean
David
finish
Cameron.
there from David Cameron.
That double trouble week when it was double start, double finish, and he
180.
made the final. Lost out to Neil Duff.
Did really enjoy that week, the double start, double finish week.
108.
Well, this pair are landing blows back at each other. That's the second time in the match that 180s have been returned.
Another one of those, and for the second time today, would be on the magic 9, but it's not going to go.
Yeah, that looked like a prime position to set up the perfect leg. Haven't had one in 2024.
140.
Jim McEwen actually has hit one himself at a Players' Championship event back in 2021. And he hit it against Raymond van Barneveld.
57. David, you require 121. Jim, you require 124.
124 then. Needs one treble with his first 2 darts. He's already got that. Now he needs the bull. Oh, what a finish that is.
Jim McEwen.
And I think that Chucky...
David, you require 70.
It's 2 darts.
Game shot.
Only needs one.
David
And Cameron clinches it. And it was a really good match against McEwen. A proper darting ding-dong, which is nicked in the last leg decider by David Cameron. Both players averaging in the mid-90s there, as you can see. 94.49 for Cameron. McEwen just a shade over 93. The pair of them hit 5 180s between them. Cameron with slightly superior finishing. Got a dart more at double, and he managed to hit 4, meaning he takes the points and he climbs to the top of the table on 8. Looking to join him is John Michael, who takes on Ivo Lexma in the last match of the day. Michael misses anyway. And that made his mind up. What a dart. How good has he been on the bull today? That's a brilliant finish. A brilliant way to close out that leg from John Michael, who's marching around the stage.
John, you require 90.
We might be saying it after 3 darts.
36.
Well, there was no need really to go that way with Lexma so far back, but also no real harm in going that way either.
58. John, you require 54.
To win it and to make it 4 wins on the spin, John Michael looks at tops.
34.
And we'll come back to look at double 10.
He may have 2 visits. He's going to get a minimum 2 visits.
John, you require 20.
It's a matter of time.
Double 5. Decision.
No score.
Oh, that's bold as well, isn't it? Choosing the bull as the target to try and bust on.
Especially considering the amount of extra wire in the area
58.
where the bounce out risk is increased.
Well, there is a little risk now because Lexma's on a finish. But the game is finished.
John Michael.
Game shot and the match. John Michael is called by Jack Garwood, the referee. That brings an end to Monday's play. 15 fixtures completed. John Michael has won 4 of his 5. The same record as David Cameron, who sits top of the table overnight. Michael along with him. As for Ivo Lexma, well, he won his first 2 but has lost his last 3 after going missing in the middle of the day. And we will summarise all of the action in 90 seconds. Count them. Well, that brings an end to the opening day of action on week 3 of Modus Super Series 7. Let's just recap what we have seen today. There are the 15 results. John Michael getting that win against Ivo Lexma in the last match, making it 4 from 5 for him. The same record for David Cameron, the only man to beat Michael, but misery for Mike Huntley, who lost all of his matches. Myself and Matthew Edgar will summarise what's happened, and he'll tell us why he thinks it's happened as well. So let's start with the man at the bottom of the table, Michael Huntley. Just a lot of the time played like a man with the weight of the world on his shoulders, and when he got the chance to win that match, 3 clear darts against John Michael, just couldn't take it.
I think he's got a little bit to learn, actually, and this is to do with the darts landing. I picked up on commentary that they're landing at different angles. He's not got that release or the weight of the dart right. I'm not convinced the equipment is the right one to suit his throw and where he's gripping that dart. I think he's really struggling to sort of get a consistent base on the landing. I think once he works that out, I think it's going to help him sort of then control it to where he wants it to be. But a disappointing day for him, and it always felt like it was going to be. When the darts are like landing at different angles, I don't get confidence watching it. So I don't know how it must be feeling when you're throwing.
And how must Ivo Lexma be feeling? Because he had a really good start to the day, but it kind of dwindled off in the middle. 8 straight legs lost 2 matches 4-0, and then that last one as well to John Michael 4-2.
If we would have had this chat at the end of game 2, we'd say, oh, what a prospect. This is an interesting player. This is going to be a dangerous player. And now we're having it after seeing what we've seen. We're thinking he could go through the card losing all 5 matches tomorrow. So that is a really awkward situation again, because we don't know what we're going to get. Does he know what he's going to do when he gets up there? Does he know why it went wrong? He is on debut, so we don't really expect consistency on debut. It's something new to him. Yes, he's played on a stage before, but certainly nothing like this, and certainly nothing with sort of like the intensity of the fixture rate. So maybe we'll see that story we saw from players last week where Group C and B campaigns are better off for the debutants.
And as for the other Dutchman in the group, Bradley Roose, we've seen some really good stuff from him, some really good finishing, some loads of maximums. He was on a 9-darter at one point. We can see why he's reached the final here before.
Yeah, and obviously those 2 World Youth Championships as well. So he's got pedigree, he's got quality. He's not the finished article, he's a developing story. And that's what I love about having players like this here this week, because we're going to get to see that story develop and grow before our eyes.
Yeah, the only player, of course, to beat David Cameron as well in this group so far. It looked like Jim McEwen might do that. I mean, he has kind of been the story of the day because of the narrative that we gave at the beginning of the show. No sleep last night, Jim McEwen, travelling from the Isle of Man. He'll be glad to get this day out of the way. He must be delighted with 6 points.
Oh, 100%. He'd probably been happy with 4. He'd just sort of just get me in there, give me an opportunity, give me a chance. Have me in a position where tomorrow, if I do come here and I feel better after having some sleep, and then it's going to not be out of the running. He's not out of the running. He's actually well and truly in the mix, which he'll be delighted with 6. I can guarantee you that. He won't be disappointed at losing that last game. He had a few chances. He broke the throw, but he'll put that aside. He'll be delighted.
Yeah, 2 players won 4 of their 5 games, but we just saw John Michael there. You kind of summarised it. He just really looked like a man on a mission towards the end of the day.
Mr. Consistency as well, isn't he? With the range of performance. By the range, I mean the lowest performance compared to the best. Some people have a lower 75 and a higher 95. We go, well, there's a 20-point difference there. Which version are we going to get? He was regularly sort of 87 to 91 sort of area throughout the day. And that's where he was sort of not just like having one good leg to save an average. He was sort of regularly at that standard throughout the day, which is why he's done what he has in the game, why he's picked up so many titles, why he lived on the PDC Pro Tour and was able to be a bit of a threat on that event as well. So we saw good things from him. At the moment, you'd have to say, consistency-wise, which is what Group A is about, because it's judged over 15 games in 3 days, maybe the favourite.
Possibly, yeah. David Cameron, though, does sit at the top of the table. And what have you made of his day?
I don't think we've learned anything about David Cameron. I think we know everything we need to know about David Cameron. What we're seeing is what we're getting. He's got a very high ceiling. He can do good things. We've seen him win that title on TV, but just sort of goes a bit wayward sometimes in the middle part of games, and didn't get punished today, but could be a little bit vulnerable at times when a Jim McEwen who's rested turns up, when John Michael who's encouraged turns up. So I think there's going to be a 3-way battle for this title.
Yeah, that was a big game as well, wasn't it, when McEwen met Cameron earlier today? That seemed to sort of determine the direction for both players.
Sort of came at the right time, I think, for Cameron as well. I mean, I don't think there's been a good time for Jim McEwen to play darts today. I think if he had the choice, he wouldn't have played today. But he kind of got himself into that problem by having that good run at the Isle of Man. But David Cameron getting the march on Jim McEwen, that could be vital come the back end of the week. And also, I do think there are going to be some leg differences come into play as well. So a big win that Cameron picked up earlier also could come into play later on.
Well, let's look at the table then. Look, it sounds like a stupid question, this, because usually it's the man in P1, but I'm going to ask you, who's happiest?
McEwen. Absolutely, McEwen. When I spoke to him this morning, I don't think he had a belief he could win a leg. He was that tired, and I don't blame him. You know, it's been a draining thing. But playing the final last night, it's quite draining to play a final because there's so much emotion that goes into that game. Had he played the final in Portsmouth, had a full night's sleep, he'd still probably feel tired because of the excitement and the adrenaline and the emotion you go through. But he literally left that, got his suitcase straight on a ferry, then a 5-hour drive. It's like a 9-hour journey to get here to Portsmouth. So he can now go get ready, and I think we see a more consistent Jim McEwen tomorrow. The only concern now, I can the tiredness, because he's got a day to get that right. If he gets that wrong, that's on him rather than his scheduling. What's this issue with the shoulder? That's going to be something to keep an eye on.
And what are you expecting from tomorrow, from him or anybody else in this group?
More of the same. There are going to be opportunities. I don't think there's anyone in this group who's really going to stamp authority on this group. There's going to be opportunities. It's just going to come down to the bottle, the moment, and who takes them.
Yeah, well, expect the unexpected then here at the Motor Super Series. We will be back tomorrow morning from 9:30 a.m. to see how this Group A continues to unfold. But for today, it was John Michael and David Cameron who could hardly be conquered on day one of week 3. We'll see you tomorrow.